His story is a remarkable one. Jeremy Newman, a self-confessed American thrill-seeker. He took himself to the brink of death. Now, though, he's inspiring others. 7 years ago, Jeremy came crashing down to earth, and I mean literally, at over 100 miles an hour in a parachute jump that went terribly wrong. Miraculously, he survived, and this weekend he's competing in his second World Triathlon Championships, this time in beautiful Queenstown. No mean feat for a guy who's paralysed from the waist down. That's from Hamish Clark.
Thank you. All right.
Jeremy Newman is a miracle on wheels.
I could just spin it around and fill you guys together.
This 35-year-old Californian is in Queenstown for the World Triathlon Championships.
I feel very fortunate to be here. Every day I wake up and I say thank you.
Jeremy has plenty to be thankful for. This thrill seeker was doing it all, and it almost cost him his life.
When I look back at the time when I hit the ground, it truly is the best thing that ever could have happened to me.
That best thing happened 7 years ago in the skies above California. Jeremy was doing his 30th parachute jump, a jump that changed his life forever.
We went up to 13,000 feet, jumped out, did our routine, and at roughly 3,000 feet, we opened up our parachutes. As I descended toward the drop zone with my canopy open, somewhere around 1,500 feet, I decided I wanted to go faster by collapsing the end cells of my parachute, which resulted in a complete canopy folding up, and I went right back into free fall. I realized that the ground was coming up far too quickly, and I went to pull my reserve chute, but the ground came up quicker than my parachute could deploy. And I hit the ground around 100 miles an hour. I had already died once in a helicopter. They brought me back to life, took me to the hospital, and found out that I had a ruptured aorta. They immediately opened me up and began to perform aortic surgery and to repair my aorta. And that took nearly 13 hours. Had to cut the blood supply off to my lower extremity in order to repair my aorta. And they were successful in completing the surgery, and by cutting off the blood supply to my lower extremity, that it caused permanent paralysis in my legs. At the completion of the surgery, I was on my way up to the intensive care unit from the operating room. My heart stopped again. I went back down into the operating room. The surgeon who had been working on me for the 13 hours that he had been inside my body, he continued to resuscitate me for 32 minutes. And this was against the direction of fellow staff members telling him to call it, and that if I were to come back to life, I would have no quality of life. I would be completely brain dead because of the lack of oxygen that was going to my brain, that I'd never be able to speak or breathe on my own.
Yeah, you can work my shoulder.
The doctors at that time are consistent with the doctors of today. They continue to refer to me as a living miracle.
When was the last time you oiled that chain?
Oh, it's been a while.
Yeah.
Within a year of hitting the ground, Jeremy was active again, choosing to do triathlons, keeping in shape.
I train anywhere from 5 to 6 days a week. I would train just as any other triathlete would train.
Jeremy is one of 29 disabled athletes competing in the World Championships tomorrow.
To get out of the wheelchair and connect with nature in the water, it's a liberating feeling.
He'll do the same course as able-bodied athletes, a 1,500-metre swim, 40k bike ride, and a 10-kilometre run in a racing wheelchair. For the cycling event, he uses a modified racing wheelchair, his arms doing all the work.
I could never have imagined my life being as full as it is today 7 years ago. Prior to me hitting the ground, my entire life was based on things that were about me. Everything I did was relatively selfish. The things that I do in my life now are much more about what I'm giving to other people.
While Jeremy dreams of walking again one day, says the rewards he receives as an athlete with a disability are precious ones.
I'm not nearly as competitive in the sport of triathlon as many of my other competitors, and I'm okay with that. I am perfectly okay because I've recognized how, just through my participation in my racing, touches, moves, and inspires people. And that, to me, is much more important than going home with a gold medal.
Cable Dragon.
Good on him. And that beautiful, inspiring landscape down south. Well, his race starts at 11:45 tomorrow with a swim in Lake Hayes, and it will be cold. He says it'll take him 3.5 to 4 hours to complete the course, which is twice as long as the fastest able-bodied athletes, which is pretty damn good when you think about it. Well, next...